You know, if I could go back and be 40 again, I wouldn't wish for more money or more time. I'd wish for a chance to take better care of my health, not because I was careless, but because I didn't know what I didn't know. Whether you're approaching 40, just hit it, or way past it, these lessons are things I wish someone told me sooner. I'm going to tell you the 5 things I wish I avoided for my health, mistakes that stole more from me than I realized at the time. My hope? That you don't wait till it's too late to change them. 1. The healthy foods that weren't. Let's start with something that still makes me shake my head to this day. What I thought was healthy eating. In my 40s, I loaded my kitchen with low-fat yogurts, fiber cereals, energy bars, and fruit smoothies from those trendy juice places. I thought I was being so smart. After all, the label said natural, heart-healthy, or made with real fruit. It was all marketing. None of it was good for me. What I didn't realize was that most of those things were sugar bombs. That low-fat yogurt had more sugar than a donut. The cereal bar I ate on the way to work? Basically, a candy bar with oats. And here's the quick fact I wish I had known then. Consuming too much added sugar doesn't just spike your blood sugar. It disrupts your gut microbiome, feeding the bad bacteria and weakening your digestion. Over time, it creates inflammation in your body and slows down your metabolism, making it harder to burn fat and easier to feel constantly tired or bloated. It's not just about weight. Sugar affects your mood, your focus, your immune system, everything. How sugar affects mood, focus, and immunity. Now, let's talk about something that people don't usually connect with sugar: your mood, your focus, and your immune system. Back in my 40s, I used to think sugar just gave me a little energy boost. I'd reach for a muffin mid-morning or a caramel latte in the afternoon, and sure enough, I felt good. For maybe 30 minutes. But what I didn't realize is that sugar gives you a high, and then it drops you hard. That spike in blood sugar? It's followed by a crash. And with it comes irritability, fatigue, brain fog, and anxiety. Mood swings and irritability. There's science behind that hangry feeling. When your blood sugar spikes after eating something sweet, your body releases insulin to bring it down. Sometimes it overshoots, causing blood sugar to drop too low. That triggers a stress response in your body, releasing cortisol and adrenaline, making you feel jittery, anxious, or even depressed. Studies show that people who consume high amounts of added sugar are at a significantly greater risk of developing mood disorders such as depression and anxiety. A 2017 study published in Scientific Reports found that men who consumed over 67 grams of sugar per day were 23% more likely to suffer from depression than those who ate less than 40 grams. Looking back, those emotional roller coasters I used to have, feeling up 1 hour and low the next. It wasn't just stress or life, it was what I was eating, and I didn't connect the dots until years later. Focus, brain fog, and mental clarity. Let's talk about focus. You'd think sugar would help, right? Quick energy to the brain? That's what I believed. But here's what actually happens. Sugar creates short bursts of mental energy, but long-term, it impairs cognitive function. Too much glucose can cause inflammation in the brain and disrupt communication between brain cells. Research from the Journal of Physiology shows that high sugar intake can reduce the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor BDNF, a critical protein for learning and memory. Low BDNF is associated with Alzheimer's and other cognitive diseases. No wonder I had trouble concentrating during meetings. I'd sit down to work, and 20 minutes later, my brain would just check out. And here's the part that really stung. I blamed age. But in truth, it was a diet that was draining my brain, one sugary snack at a time. Sugar and your immune system. Now this hit me hard in my late 40s. I kept getting sick. Every cold would knock me out. My gums were inflamed. My wounds took longer to heal. Again, I thought it was just getting older. But the truth? My immune system was under constant attack from my own food choices. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that consuming 100 grams of sugar can suppress the activity of white blood cells, your body's natural defense army, by up to 40%, and this effect can last for several hours after consumption. It's like I was feeding the enemy inside my body. Sugar creates inflammation, which puts your immune system into overdrive. And over time, your defenses wear down. You're more prone to infections and slower to heal. The amazing thing? When I finally started cutting back on sugar, not cutting it all out, just reducing it, everything shifted. I was calmer, more focused. I could sit through a full book without rereading every paragraph. I didn't snap at my family for no reason. I slept deeper, my body felt stronger, and what I replaced them with made a world of difference. I began eating full-fat Greek yogurt with berries and nuts instead of the low-fat, sugar-laden kind. I swapped cereal bars for hard-boiled eggs and avocado toast. I learned to read ingredient lists, not just calorie counts. And slowly, my energy returned, my cravings settled, and my gut finally started to feel at peace. And for the first time in years, I went a whole winter without getting sick. Sugar may taste sweet, but its effects are bitter. If I had known back then how it was hijacking my mind, messing with my mood, and weakening my immune system, I would have made changes a lot sooner. So yes, if I was 40 again, I'd stop trusting labels. I'd start reading ingredients. I'd ask myself, did my great-grandmother eat this? Would she even recognize it as food? 2. Skimping on sleep like it didn't matter. Mistake number 2. And oh boy, I paid for this one. I didn't sleep enough, and I wore it like a badge of honor. Back in my 40s, I was juggling work, family, social obligations. I told myself, sleep is for the weak. I was up at 5 a.m., asleep past midnight. I drank coffee like it was water, always wired, always tired. And let me tell you something. Chronic sleep deprivation will catch up with you. It ages you. It messes with your hormones. It makes you hungrier, foggier, more emotional, and honestly, more likely to snap at the people you love. The moment it hit me was during a team meeting at work. I'd been asked to present an update on a client project. I opened my mouth and completely blanked. Couldn't remember the numbers, the details. Nothing. I stood there, embarrassed, fumbling. I remember walking out of that room with my heart pounding, thinking, am I losing it? But I wasn't losing my mind. I was losing my rest. My brain was so sleep-deprived it couldn't store or retrieve information. That moment was my wake-up call. No pun intended. What I didn't understand back then is that sleep isn't just rest. It's restoration. Your body is doing all the behind-the-scenes work at night, and if you don't give it time, everything gets thrown off. Hormones? A mess? Lack of sleep increases cortisol, your stress hormone, and decreases leptin, your I'm full hormone, while increasing ghrelin, your I'm hungry hormone. That's why I'd wake up craving sugar and carbs. My body was trying to get quick energy to compensate for exhaustion. Mood? Unstable. A 2015 study from UC Berkeley showed that sleep deprivation reduces activity in the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making and emotional regulation, while amping up the amygdala, your emotional alarm bell. That means less control, more overreaction. Weight? Out of control. Chronic short sleep is linked with insulin resistance, slower metabolism, and weight gain, especially belly fat. And believe me, I carried that around for years without understanding why. I used to think my willpower was broken. Nope. It was just my sleep-deprived hormones throwing me out of balance. Eventually, I got tired of feeling tired, and I started making changes, small, almost embarrassingly simple ones. But they worked. I started winding down with a cup of chamomile or magnesium tea around 9 p.m. I dimmed the lights and turned off screens by 9:30. That was hard, especially the phone, but worth it. I made my room cool and dark, no TV, no glowing clocks, just peace. I started going to bed before I was exhausted. That changed everything. Within a few weeks, I started remembering more. I was less reactive. I stopped craving sugar all day. My face looked brighter in the mirror. I even lost 5 pounds without changing a thing in my diet. And no, sleeping in on weekends didn't help, because the damage was daily. If I could go back, I'd protect my sleep like it was sacred. 7 to 8 hours. Every night. No screens an hour before bed. A wind-down routine. Magnesium at night. Dark, cool room. Sleep isn't lazy. It's necessary. It's your superpower. 3. Ignoring chronic stress signals. The third thing I wish I avoided was pretending I could power through stress. You see, I used to tell myself I was just a little tired, a little overworked, a little overwhelmed, but the truth is, my nervous system was running on fumes. I was in fight-or-flight mode 24/7, and I called it being productive. There were so many symptoms I brushed off because they felt normal. Everyday stuff, like waking up with a clenched jaw or having knots in my stomach before work. I used to get headaches, tension in my shoulders, random chest flutters, and this ever-present tightness in my chest. I thought, that's just life, that's just adulthood. But let me tell you, those weren't just quirks of a busy lifestyle, those were red flags, and I missed them. How chronic stress wrecks your body. Stress doesn't just live in your head, it burrows into every part of your body. And it stays there if you don't do something about it. Digestion slows down. When you're in fight-or-flight mode, your body diverts energy away from non-essential functions, like digesting food. That's why chronic stress can lead to bloating, constipation, or acid reflux. You're not digesting your food properly because your body thinks it's preparing to run from danger. Immunity weakens. Elevated cortisol over time suppresses the immune system. That's why I kept getting colds that lingered or infections that took forever to heal. It's not age, it's chronic stress quietly pulling the plug on your defenses. Energy? Completely drained. I was tired all the time, even after a full night's sleep. My body was constantly burning fuel just to cope, leaving me exhausted before the day even began. And emotionally? I was short-tempered, snappy, easily overwhelmed. I'd lose my cool in traffic or find myself crying over things that never used to bother me. But I still kept saying, I'm fine. The truth is, you're not. What changed everything wasn't medication or quitting my job or going off to some silent retreat in the mountains. It was something much simpler. I gave myself permission to slow down, and I started learning to breathe again. I began each morning with 5 minutes of deep belly breathing. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Simple, but grounding. I started taking a 10-minute walk without my phone every afternoon. No podcasts, no calls, just me, the breeze, and a sidewalk. I wrote down 3 things I was grateful for every night, even on tough days. Gratitude rewired my stress response more than I ever expected. And here's what happened. My digestion improved. The constant bloating, gone. I wasn't getting sick all the time anymore. I had more energy in the mornings. I smiled more. I slept deeper. And the world didn't end when I slowed down. It actually opened up. If you're in your 40s, don't ignore the signs. That racing heart, that sinking gut, that tight chest, that's your body begging you to pause. Stress will break you down from the inside out if you don't learn to listen. And trust me, by the time your body forces you to stop, the damage will already be done. 4. Overdoing cardio and skipping strength. The 4th mistake? I was a cardio junkie. I thought more was always better. I ran miles and miles, sweating it out on treadmills like I was training for a marathon I never signed up for. I'd hit the gym and go straight to the bike or the elliptical, thinking as long as I burned enough calories, I was doing something good. And I won't lie, it felt good. But the results didn't add up. I was constantly exhausted, my joints hurt, and even though I was putting in the work, I wasn't seeing the changes I expected in my body. And I completely ignored strength training. Lifting weights? I thought that was for the younger guys, the gym bros, or athletes. I told myself, I'm too old for that, or I don't want to hurt myself. Looking back now, I realize what I really was uninformed. Then it started catching up to me. I noticed my posture slumping. My lower back would ache after sitting too long. My grip got weaker. I couldn't open jars, carry heavy boxes, or even stand up from the couch without pushing off with both hands. My body was sending me signals, and I kept hitting ignore. See, what I didn't understand back then is that once you hit 40, you start losing muscle every year unless you're actively doing something about it. It's called sarcopenia. By 70, you've lost as much as 20 to 30% of your muscle mass if you haven't been building it. Muscle drives your metabolism. It helps you burn more calories, even at rest. Less muscle equals slower metabolism equals more fat storage. Muscle protects your bones and joints. When you lift, your bones get stronger too, and your joints are better supported. It even supports your brain. Studies show strength training improves cognitive function, balance, and reduces fall risk as you age. Cardio alone wasn't giving me any of that. In fact, all that running and spinning was burning away the little muscle I had left and worsening my joint pain without building real strength. So what did I do? I started where I was, with zero experience and a lot of hesitation. I began doing bodyweight squats in the morning while brushing my teeth. 10 a day, then 15, then 20. I bought a resistance band and used it while watching TV, pull-aparts, rows, side steps. I picked up a pair of 5-pound dumbbells and learned a few simple movements: overhead presses, curls, lunges. And I stuck with it. Twice a week at first, then 3, not long sessions, 20 minutes tops, but consistent. Eventually, I joined a small group class for older adults focused on functional strength. No one was trying to impress anyone, just guys like me trying to age well. And it worked. Within a few weeks, my balance improved. I didn't wake up with back stiffness. My confidence came back, and I stopped feeling like I was falling apart. Walking is great. Cardio has its place, but strength? That's your long game. That's what keeps you active, independent, and pain-free as the decades roll on. If I was 40 again, I wouldn't waste time chasing the calorie burn on a treadmill. I'd pick up some weights, twice a week minimum. Nothing crazy, just consistent, controlled, and focused on staying strong. Because here's the truth: cardio may help you survive, but strength training helps you thrive. 5. Following trends. Instead of listening to my body. And the 5th thing, this one really gets to me. I wasted years following trends instead of listening to my own body. I was always chasing the next big thing. Whatever the latest health podcast, influencer, or fitness guru said was the answer. I tried it all. Keto, intermittent fasting, plant-based, low-carb, no-carb, detox teas, fat burners, even those green powders that claim to fix everything but your taxes. For a while, I thought I was on the right track. I'd feel good for a few days, then crash. I'd follow a rigid plan, then feel guilty the moment I slipped up. It wasn't sustainable, and worse, it pulled me further and further away from what my body was actually telling me. 1 month I was cutting out all carbs. The next, I was drinking bulletproof coffee and skipping breakfast. Then I was loading up on protein shakes. But none of it was rooted in me. It was just noise, loud, trendy, expensive noise. Here's the truth I learned too late. There is no one-size-fits-all when it comes to health. Your body is your body. Your metabolism, your genes, your history, your stress levels, your gut bacteria, they all affect how you process food, how you store energy, how you feel. Research from Stanford's Diet Fit study showed that people who followed the exact same diets, either low-carb or low-fat, had wildly different results. Some lost weight, others gained, even when they stuck to the plan. Why? Because what works for one person's body might not work for another. Your gut, hormones, and even your mindset play huge roles in how your body responds to food. Ignoring those factors in favor of what's popular online is like driving a car by someone else's GPS. It'll lead you somewhere, but it might not be where you need to go. Eventually, I reached a point where I said, enough. No more following someone else's blueprint. I decided to get curious about my own body. I started tracking how I felt after eating certain meals, not the calories, the impact. Did I feel bloated, energized, sluggish? I kept a simple food journal, not for judgment, just for learning. I noticed patterns I never saw before. I started eating slower, chewing more, paying attention. That alone helped my digestion and reduced cravings. I focused on real food, whole ingredients I could pronounce. I built my meals around protein, healthy fats, and fiber. I drank more water, and I stopped vilifying food groups based on social media trends. Most of all, I started listening to my body again. And the crazy thing? It started talking back. More energy, less bloating, more stable moods, clearer thinking, better sleep. And I realized I didn't need to follow the noise. I needed to follow me. If I was 40 again, I wouldn't waste time jumping from plan to plan. I'd tune in, observe, experiment gently, be consistent. I'd stop outsourcing my health to algorithms and instead build a relationship with my own biology. Because the best wellness plan isn't the most popular one, it's the one that works for you, day in, day out. So, here's what I'd avoid if I had a second shot at 40. I'd stop eating fake healthy food and start eating real whole ingredients. I'd stop skipping sleep and honor rest as healing. I'd stop dismissing stress and start learning to manage it. I'd stop relying on cardio and start building strength. And I'd stop chasing health fads and finally trust my body. I don't share this out of regret. I share it with gratitude because I've learned. And I still have time to live well and help you do the same. So, if any of these hit home for you, don't wait. Don't tell yourself next year or after things calm down. Start now. Even small changes make a big difference. And if you made it this far, you're not here by accident. You care about your health, and that already puts you ahead of the curve. Drop a comment below. What's one thing you'd go back and change for your health? Or one thing you're committing to right now? I'd love to hear from you. And of course, subscribe if you haven't. I'm here every week sharing stories, lessons, and little steps to help you live well daily, even if you're not 80 yet. Take care of that beautiful body. It's the only place you have to live.